welcome back to Bread and Butter, where we are serving up the basics for Hearthstone improvement. This is episode 117, even though I didn't change it from episode 114 in the show notes. And I am Tito Santana. As always, I am joined by Pilot. Pilot, how are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Today we're going to be talking about the mini set, and we have a very special guest to join us for that. We have NotBamity. Am I saying that correctly? Because I've been calling you NotBamity in my brain for a while, even though I know that's not the letters.
Yeah, I usually go by NotBamity. People also just call me Bamity, which is totally fine.
Well, isn't Bamity the opposite of you? If you're not Bamity?
Theoretically, yes, but like the whole story is this is a long story, but the point was I was young and I put the word "not" there, so people would think I wasn't Bamity, but I really was Bamity. So I guess actually the "not" is just like a trick.
Fair enough. That always reminds me of that reminds me of one of my favorite Saturday Night Live skits when they were talking about and number two on the chalk, number one on the chart, better than Ezra. Number two, Ezra. But not Bamity. Bamity, what have you been doing inside of Hearthstone?
Yeah, so I've been just sort of grinding ladder, trying to do like qualify for the Masters Tour playoffs. So that's what I've mainly been doing the last 2 months. I've also been playing more Battlegrounds. I play with my little brother. He's like 10 years younger than me, so he's like 12. So I play Battlegrounds with him, like duos. So I do that a little bit, but mostly just grinding ladder. Lots of Paladin. I've been playing the Shanty Paladin mostly.
Yeah, Pilot and I play duos almost every stream now ish. Occasionally not when I'm panicking that I haven't hit Legend before the end of the month, but usually we make it there. Pilot, what have you been doing inside of Hearthstone?
I've been trying to find my way the past week with how the meta has settled and not been successful in that. Normally when that happens, it's because I'm playing bad decks or, being my own worst enemy. I've actually been playing good decks and I just cannot find anywhere. Can't settle on anything. If I switch, then I run into all of that deck's counters, and I think I'm like 30% on the month so far. It has not been a good start to May. So not sure what's going on there. I don't feel like I've been playing terribly. I know I haven't been playing my best because when you start every session 0-5, you're instantly tilted. So not playing my best, but definitely feel like I've been technically playing better than what my record shows. I've just had a couple games where, go second difference. I had a deck with the Drunk Paladin where I drew the nuts, but I went second and my opponent also drew the nuts. So everything I did, they did right before me. So I was having to answer and just, they top decked Shaladrisil on turn 8 to Ursol Shaladrisil. And that was it. I had that set up for that turn. I'm like, well, they got it first. I'm done. So it happens. I'll figure it out. It's also been just busy. So that never helps when, you're busy outside of Hearthstone. And then just playing a little bit of the new BG's patch. A lot of changes. I'm totally lost at what's going on, but there's some really fun stuff. Had some success with Naga. I had a fun Naga build going today to where all my first trinkets were awful. So I picked the Selfless portrait where, instead of just Death Rattle, it also gives Divine Shield on Battle Cry. So that's permanent. So I got a couple big Naga where my tier 2 Naga spells were giving like permanent +50/+50 every turn. I had like 3 of them. So kind of turned the corner in SteamWorld there. Tried a little bit with dragons, a little bit with magnetic mechs. So a lot of new stuff to figure out that hopefully we'll have some time to do so once school settles down.
And it's only May 4th, so you got plenty of time. I am trying to climb. I want to hit the Legend early this month because I've let it go too long the last few months, and it's been kind of a little stressor. Not that it really matters if I hit it or not, but it's a little stressor at the end there where I'm just like, I have like 3 days left. Can we do it? And we've been okay, but I haven't had an opportunity to climb the Legend ladder in a while, so I haven't really worked on that MMR. But it's fine. We'll get there. This month I've been playing all right. I've been playing above 500, so better than Pilot apparently. But we played. I've been playing the Get 'em kind of Dark Gift Demon Hunter that I was playing with last month, without the bear this time. So I got rid of the bear, and I got rid of Prince Jafar, and I added the 1 mana 3/3s that are dormant until you would use your hero power, and I added just an acupuncture for a little over the top damage, and it's been pretty well. I stalled out just before a D10 yesterday on stream. I was like, oh, I'll just hit D10 and I'll call it a night. And then I lost like 3 in a row, and I said, I'm going to call it a night anyway. So, and then today played some Battlegrounds while I was cleaning down up in New Hampshire. So I like doing that for Battlegrounds because it's like you do your thing, and as long as you don't have like an APM kind of build, you can kind of like do your turn and then clean up a little bit and do whatever you're doing. And we had a pretty good run there. I think I won. I think I got first, second, and a first, and another second, and then like an eighth. But the eighth didn't lose any points because we're still kind of early in the season. And I accidentally, of course, queued into duos the first game, which was a little more stressful than I wanted to be because I'm just like, I don't want to pay attention. I just want to make my things and go. But then I had to like, be a good teammate for my partner, and we ended up winning, and we won with some pretty good builds. So I was pretty happy with that. I don't remember exactly what I was doing on that particular one, but I know we scaled a lot better, and he scaled very big with demons. I think I was mechs. Yeah, no, I was definitely mechs because he kept feeding me some mechs too. So yeah, we got pretty big. It was fun. But Bemity, what have you been doing outside of the world of Hearthstone?
Yeah, so I'm a senior right now, so I've been graduating college. I have like my senior thesis, stuff like that. I'm like wrapping up. Other than that, like I went to a concert like a couple days ago. If you know the artist named Ian Dior. So I've been like hanging out with my friends, before we all graduate and end up in different places, trying to go out, that type of stuff. Yeah.
Nice. What style of music is that?
Ian Dior, he's like pop punk, but like more on the pop side, like emo rap, sort of like, yeah.
Fair enough. How about yourself, Pilot? What have you been up to?
I've been on the other side of concerts. Been finishing up all of our performances for the end of the school year here. So 2 down, 4 to go. We had our high school concert yesterday, which went incredibly well. Check off another one on Tuesday with the elementary bands, and then kind of start the slide to the end of the year with a lot smaller things from there. Gaming wise, been playing a decent amount of Overwatch again because they had a huge patch a couple weeks ago where they added a new game mode that is a lot of fun. They've added Stadium where you're kind of getting perks and roguelike style stuff to where you're purchasing perks and powers and abilities for each round. And my brother and I were playing. It's a lot of fun. It's very chaotic because things change very, very quickly. But it's given a lot of heroes that normally are pretty boring some very interesting play styles, and I've really enjoyed the little bit that we've been able to play. It seems like they're going to balance it pretty aggressively too, because within a week they made a decent balance patch. So looking forward to see where that goes and kind of get into that a little bit more. Also, what about you, Tito?
It's been kind of so we didn't stream last week, or excuse me, we didn't record last week because I ended up going to I took a few days off from work, and I took my family, my grandson and my son, to Great Wolf Lodge for reasons. My wife ended up not coming because of an emergency, so I ended up having to take the 3 of them, which normally we like to have the 2 of us so we can split the kids up for a while because kids together can be kind of a lot. But they had fun. We had fun. It was pretty. It went by pretty quickly. I don't love Great Wolf Lodge. I think I've talked about this before because I think I did this last year, and it's not the greatest place. It's all right. It's fine, but it's always overcrowded, and there's not a ton to do. And they want you to stay there multiple days, but like one night's enough. And we don't live so far that I'm like, well, we should just do day trips. But it was for his birthday, and kids love it, so it is what it is. I spent couple hours in a wave pool and whatnot. So, it was a good time. But let's go ahead and get to know our guest tonight. So our guest is NotBamity. You already kind of told us a little bit about your name, but what is Bamity? So why are you not Bamity? I'm trying to figure this one out.
Yeah, so this name is like from like middle school, high school. So my school's district is called Amity. I used to like resell sneakers back in the day, and I was like on a lot of Discord groups, and my name used to have like just Amity in it, and then I realized I might be doxing myself, like like especially when I was like a middle schooler, like I was like, oh, I shouldn't let strangers know where I am. But I sort of like already had like the Amity in my name, so I added like the B emoji because that was like all the hype back in the day. And then I added the word "not" in front of it because I was like, I'm not from here, therefore I must not be doxing myself. And then I just started using that for everything, and it's actually a really stupid story to be completely honest, but now it's stuck, so now I have to explain it to everybody, and it's really weird.
I mean, honestly, I think all of us have stupid ways we got our gamer tags because they're gamer tags. Pilot, where did yours come from?
I hit 2 random letters on the keyboard and then went from there. It's exactly what I did. I had to come up with something for whatever website, and P and Y were the first 2 that I hit, and kind of built something out from there. I was mainly just Pilot for a while, and then that was taken on a couple of things. So I added the 712 for my birthday at the end.
Oh, you shouldn't say that. Well, we know when his birthday
Yeah,
is. Can we also did it have anything to do with your social security number? What was
yeah,
that
yeah,
again? Uh,
yeah.
so how did you get started in gaming, and how did that lead you to Hearthstone?
Yeah, so I mean, I think I've played like video games like since I was really little. Like I can't even remember. Like I started playing like Nintendo DS, Lite, Nintendo 3DS, like Pokemon, Mario, all the basic stuff. Started playing like Clash of Clans in elementary school. And then in sixth grade I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! That was like my first like proper card game. And then I think when I was in middle school, like Clash Royale came out too. I started playing that, and then I went to summer camp, like science summer camp, and some kid introduced me to Hearthstone, and I think I've been playing Hearthstone since that summer camp, like maybe seventh, eighth grade until now. So like really long time. I couldn't tell you what expansion I started playing at because I was so young when I started playing. Like I don't even remember what cards I was playing. But I think like I recall like the oldest deck I can remember is just like all the Reno stuff. So I've definitely been playing since like the original like Reno Jackson came out, if not slightly earlier.
Very nice. That was League of Explorers. So that was, I think, that was a long time ago. But it makes me sad that you're like I was like a young kid when that came out because I was already very old when that came out. In fact, this week I got the letter from AARP saying, "Hey, you're gonna be 50. You can join our 50s club now." And I'm like, this sucks. I hate my life. But um, so you've had a bunch of strong finishes lately. I went and take a look, and especially since October, you've been on Americas. You've been hitting top 100 fairly consistently, and also top say I think 300 in Asia. So what changed? Because you were around the 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 level, and all of a sudden jumped up. So were you listening to our podcast? I mean, what helped get you over the hump there?
So, there's a couple of things. So, if you also see, I didn't have a finish in July or August. The reason for that was I was interning during the summer, so I was like really busy. Like, I actually was like basically on a hiatus for like 2.5 months. And honestly, like, I don't even know what happened. I came back and I was just like playing like way better than I ever was like before. So I think like I'd been playing for so long, I sort of was just like autopiloting every game. Like I was just like playing to play. Also, I was playing in class a lot, and I don't know if you ever played like in class. Like you're not actually focusing and playing turns. You're sort of like clicking cards for fun to distract yourself. Um, Once I got to senior year, I got like my internship. I did all my hard technicals. So now I'm just like not going to class. So like, I'm not playing in class as well, which is like makes it a lot easier, right? I have like less classes because I finished most of my hard classes. Like I'm part time right now, so I'm just like playing at home. I'm playing more focused, and I think the hiatus just helped too. It's like a reset. It's like maybe come back a lot stronger.
Now, what are you getting your degree in?
I'm majoring in statistics and machine learning. Yeah, and I'm minoring in math too. If that matters. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about this before. I didn't realize you had to have your minor finished before you graduated because I got my graduate and I was like, I'll just take the rest of the math class. And they're like, nope, you can't do that. It's like, oh, okay, sure. Um, so now that you're graduating, and I'm sure you're out there, looking for the work, and you got to figure out what you're going to do, but you're also doing really well on Hearthstone ladder. Are you thinking about maybe making a push for legend points and finding your way onto the master store there, or?
Yeah, so actually, one of my I don't know if it's gonna happen, but one of my goals for like this summer is like I would love to qualify for Master Story. That'd be super cool. I mean, this, like, for the upcoming one, like, I qualified for the playoffs. I got 3 competitive points, so I think is enough for the Americas region to qualify for playoffs, because there's, like, no Legends finishers, like, in Americas. It's actually really sad. So, like, I'll play in the playoffs. Unlikely, like, you have to get top 2 out of, like, 60 plus really, really good players. I mean, unluckily I make Masters Tour, but even making playoffs is really exciting for me. Yeah, so I think I'll try making a finish. I'm planning on just going abroad. I'm taking, like, a 2-month, like, trip before I start work full time. And so that's, like, in August. So that's during the competitive months that are for the August Masters Tour. So my plan is to try to, like, try hard and also just, like, sort of rest and relaxation is, like, my main 2 goals for the summer. So yeah, hopefully make a push. I don't know how doable it is. It seems pretty difficult.
Those 2 goals seem diametrically opposed, especially with the way
They
the
are a
current
little
ladder
bit.
system is. Yeah. Well, that's fair. If anyone can do it, it's the youth, I'm sure. So you also have been playing in college. You're on a collegiate team. So how did that get started, and what was that like?
Yeah, so I guess I'll dox myself a little bit. I go to Carnegie Mellon University, so we have, like, an esports team. And so I came into college knowing I wanted to try playing, like, collegiate Hearthstone. Like, I knew at that point TESPA still existed. So my freshman year, I just, like, reached out to the esports team. There were fortunately, unfortunately, only 2 kids who played. TESPA's teams of 3, so there was, like, a perfect spot for me to sneak onto the team. They're both older than me. So I joined, like, my college's TESPA team. And we actually made, like, the championships in TESPA. We crashed out in the championships. I think we lost all our games. So we made, like, the top cut and then just lost all our games. But it was really fun. And then right after that year, I think TESPA just, like, fell apart. Blizzard stopped funding it. So I just sort of looked around. There's a couple of these, like, small leagues that have started, like, popped up for collegiate esports. One is called Playfly. The other is called Nace. So I compete in those now. Those are solo. So TESPA was a trios format where you pilot, like, one person's a deck pilot, and then 3 people, like, talk and play. Sort of like THL duos was. I think it's, like, very similar. I really enjoyed that format because I like playing games in teams, honestly. Like, I like Hearthstone a lot, but not because the solo game, like, because of the other aspects. I enjoy, like, team-based games way more. So yeah, like, that was really fun. But then, like, playing solo, and then the 2 other teammates graduated. I've just been playing, like, it's, like, really chill, just, like, Conquest, sort of like THL Pro for, like, people who do THL, and it's pretty chill. It's very small, though. Like, there's not more than, like, I think 20, 30 teams that compete, and most people aren't high legend players. But, like, I think the top, like, 8 players are, like, really, really good. There's one player who I play against a lot. His name's Critical. He's, like, 5th in, like, America's points if you look on, like, the points, HSC sports points. So, like, there's some really good players. It's just, like, a lot of people are just, like, a lot of schools have, like, actually sports teams. So, like, they'll, like, actually, like, be like, oh, we need someone to play Hearthstone, and so it'll be, like, someone who, like, literally has a brand new account playing. And there's, like, other people who, like, legend tryhard. So it's, like, sort of, like, very, like, polarized. It's, like, a format.
That's fair enough, and it's kind of like Pilot having to play with me in duos. He had to kind of try to pull me along, right? But so you also play in THL? Is the prep and the formats and everything different in the collegiate stuff, or is it kind of like hey, I'll put my lineup in for the college stuff. I'll also put the same lineup in for THL, and let's go.
So in THL, like, I think the way I approach THL prep is, like, you have, like, this scouting ability after a couple of weeks in where you can see what your opponents have played. So in THL, you can, like, prep out your opponents, like, a lot, which is something, like, at least I like to do. In college, you can't really do that. Like, it's not really centralized in that way. Like, you don't know what your opponent submitted last week. The most you can do is, like, go on, like, HS Guru and be like, what rank legend have they finished? What rank legend are they right now? So you sort of, like, be like, okay, like, ballpark, do they even know what the meta decks are? Or do they not? If they don't know what the meta decks are, you just play the good decks, and you usually can outplay them, even if they're playing the meta decks, because usually then it's just like you just, like, a skill gap. And if they are, then I start thinking, like, okay, like, do I have to, like, counter the meta decks or stuff like that? But I think it's, like, relatively different, but, like, Conquest, I guess, is shared between pro and college. So, like, that strategy is the same, like, we're thinking about banning and stuff like that. But I think prepping is pretty different. There's some tools our team has developed to help us prep that, like, parse, like, data on Aegis replay. If you know the THL player Pyro Lama, he plays pretty well. He was also on my collegiate team, and we still play in THL together, but we played collegiate together as well. So, like, he's developed some cool tools that we use sometimes.
Nice. Now, do you do any streaming or content creation of any kind?
So, like, I always like. I think the idea of streaming seems really fun. I don't know if I'd be good at it, but I also never really have the bandwidth for it. I might stream a little bit over the summer until my job starts, but I think realistically, I just won't really ever have the bandwidth to stream. But I wish I could. It's something I think I would really enjoy.
Now, do you have a favorite streamer yourself, or anything like that?
Yeah, I think I've been watching No Hands since like high school, like a long time. So like I really like watching No Hands play. So that would definitely be like if I choose a favorite streamer, that would definitely be my favorite streamer. I watched Clark a decent amount too. That'd be like the two streamers I watch like a decent amount of the time.
Yeah, Clark has an energy about him. We're just gonna try to get him on the show soon. I hope. What's your favorite class, and what's your favorite deck of all time?
Yeah, so I think like my favorite class, like my gut instinct is Warlock. I don't think I have like a really like, singular favorite class. Like I honestly just like winning, which I guess is a little toxic. But I was like, I'll just play whatever deck wins. So like yeah, but I think my favorite deck of all time, I really liked remember like OTK Lifesteal Demon Hunter, like with a quest. I really enjoyed playing that deck. I'm not really most people's favorite decks. I also really like Location Warlock like, as of late. I played that. I played that for my finish, not this last month's finish. I guess like the month before last month, like the March finish. I played a lot of Location Lock. I actually had like a 20 game win streak. I was ranked 300 2 days before the season ended, and I won like 20 games in a row and like shot up just in the nick of time. I was actually scared I wouldn't make the finish. But fortunately, Location Lock saved me there.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people were sad to see Il'gynoth go away when that happened.
It was the worst because I had just got the hang of the deck, and then it was going away, and I was so sad because like this is so fun to play and win with, and now it's all gone.
Fair. So, Pilot, why don't you get us started going on the mini set? What are we looking at here for this new mini set?
Yeah. So we have all the cards for the mini set, the Embers of the World Tree. It is a very different reveal season this time. With how the patch schedule is, Tito and I were talking about because we went back and forth like for 3 days about are we getting the cards? Are they coming? What's the schedule here? And we were very confused until it actually came out. This expansion cycle, there's not going to be a normal 0.6 patch. So because of that, BGs and mini set patches were together with 0.2, and whenever we get the 0.4 patch, that's going to be the teaser for the Dex expansion and all the pre-order stuff and whatnot. However, they didn't release the mini set right away with the patch like they normally do, probably because of all the abbreviated time and technical side of things. So all the cards are revealed and technically in the client, but the mini set is not going live until Tuesday, May 13th. So the cards are in Arena. We can see what all of them are, but we cannot play with them for another week or so at this point. So like a normal mini set, each class has 3 cards. We have a few neutrals, have some interesting cards this time. I feel like the past few mini sets have really kind of gone a lot of different directions, so where I feel like this one has a lot of cards I can see being played right away in all the classes, but nothing that's like a direct build around or looks overly like this is going to break the game like a GOG right away, but we'll find out because I've been wrong about that before. So start out with Death Knight is getting some more Dark Gift support with 2 cards that seem, in my opinion, pretty strong. We have a 3-mana spell, Discover a Minion with a Dark Gift. It costs 2 less. And it is also a fire spell, which is important if you are touring into Shaman with buttons and with the spell school stuff from that. And then we also have a 5-mana 4/4 dragon with a battle cry. If you're holding a minion with a Dark Gift, summon 2 4/4 dragons with taunt. So a pretty big tempo play if you're holding something with a Dark Gift. And then it also has one of our legendaries, Volcaros, I think is how it's said. Rush, Taunt, Battle Cry, choose to spend 10, 20, or 30 corpses to gain that many stats. At a base level, it's an 8 mana 5/5, but you'll gain stats based on how many corpses you choose to spend. So it could be up to a 35/35 for 8 mana. Now it's Russian Taunt, so it's just a big minion on board they can deal with, unless you somehow get the charged Dark Gift on it, which is something somebody will do, and the other person will be really upset about it. But not something that you should plan on. So thoughts on Death Knight?
Yeah, that'll be a trolled-in video right off the
Yes.
bat, I'm sure. One thing to note about Volcaros is that they have 2 unholy runes. So
Yes.
that's going to be not just dropped into whatever deck is playing right now, because I don't think anyone's really playing double unholy. There's too much out there in blood and even a little bit of frost that I think, if anything, you'd probably go double blood or rainbow right now. So I don't know. This is not going to just drop into something and be a problem right away, unless there's a decent amount of unholy support. Yeah. So I don't think there is a support for that. But I like the dark gifts. I think the dark gifts are interesting and fun. They're very powerful. I think they're more powerful than people thought they were going to be, and getting them cheaper is not bad. I think there's good things here. What do you think there, NotBamity? Damity.
I would definitely agree on like the Volcaros. Like I don't really see like a deck it would fit into, and like if someone's playing like double or triple unholy, like a more aggro deck, like I guess is usually what the unholy decks are, then it would be like the only big minion. So it feels like it's really easy. Like most decks have like 1 removal, so I think it gets removed most of the time pretty easily if you even get it out. I think if people want to play Dark Gifts, which I guess is like the 2-drop, I can agree that like Frostburn Matrix seems super good. Like it seems like you're just like dropping so many stats if it's consistent. So like if the Dark Gift support is enough, which I guess I don't know how good Cremate is. I'm like middling on that. But if it ends up being good, like if the minion pool is good enough, then I think Matriarch's like really, really good.
Also, keep in mind that I was thinking that, hey, maybe Volcross will be good for Chromatic Necrotic Explosion, but that's a rainbow card. So I think that's probably why it's double rune. So we didn't have a wild
That's
issue.
also gone.
Yeah, but I'm saying a wild. So if they release this in wild and they could spend 30 corpses, then you could just follow that up with Necrotic Explosion. Is probably not what they're looking for. So yeah. So do you think this sets? So I set up a ranking system this time, so we can kind of do it just in general for the class's mini set. Do you think it's exciting, improved, confusing, or meh? So Bamity, what do you think about the Death Knight set using that scale?
I want to put it somewhere between improved and meh. Like I've maybe like slightly improved. Like there's definitely like places for these cards to be put into. At least like the non-Volcaros cards.
Pilot?
I'd say improved. I think the other 2 cards are pretty good. I think Volcaros is waiting for something that cares about us spending corpses again. That's better than Stitch Giant. That's kind of the only card that cares about how many corpses you have spent this game. If we get something that's a payoff for spending a bunch, we have a lot of double unholy and triple unholy that gain a bunch of corpses and spend a bunch of corpses. So I think that's kind of waiting on something else and could be really strong if we get that, but that's a big if.
Speaking of, and I also give that improved. I think that's kind of right where it is. The Dark Gifts will be nice. They'll slide. Dark Gifts can kind of slide in wherever. That's one of those nice like keywords that you don't have to kind of really build around. But if you have some support, it's good. So I think it's going to be fine. But the next set is Demon Hunter, and I think we are waiting for something with Demon Hunter because we get some weird cards here. We got a 2-mana Fell spell, Sigil of Cinder, which is at the start of your turn, deal 6 damage randomly split amongst all enemies. We got the 2-mana 2/3 Fellfire Blaze, which is an elemental. After you cast a Fell spell, destroy this and deal 2 damage to all enemies. And you have Scorch Reaver, which is a 4-mana 4/4 Battlecry. Discover a Fell spell, reduce the cost of all spells in your hand by 1. Now, without looking at the Fell spells right now and pulling them up, we don't have any Fell spells we really care about. That's not more like there's nothing offensive. It's all reactive stuff and clearing stuff, I think. And there's like a weird one that. Oh, okay, Pilot.
Decent. Yeah, I've got them up now. We've got a couple defensive ones like Immolation, Aurea, I-Beam, Workshop Mishap. Those are very defensive. We have Warp Drive because for some reason that's a Fell spell. Draw 2 cards. If you're building a starship, they cost 2 less. We have Sigil of Skydiving, Chaos Strike, Demonic Deal, which is lifesteal, deal 4 damage to a minion, put a random demon that costs 5 or more on top of your deck, and now the new Sigil of Cinder. So a decent mix that makes it to where you could look for a reason put these cards in any of those types of decks, I feel. I don't know if you do. But especially the Fellfire Blaze, if you're building something a little bit more defensive, if you're facing a go wide deck, then that has taunt on it because they have to clear it if they're going to develop, because you attack face, play a fell spell, and then their board is gone. So I think that's a sneaky good card. Sigil of Cinder, I think, is one of the best cards in the set. That card is really good, especially at the start of your turn. Then being able to adjust your game plan based on whatever it hits. If it clears the board, if it goes face, if it does a mixture, you can adjust your plan. But 6, even though it's delayed, 6 damage, 6 pings for 2 mana is really, really strong.
What about yourself, Bamity? What do you think?
Yeah, so I definitely agree that Sigil of Cinder looks good. I think the other two, like, I'm not super high on Fellfire Blaze like myself. I don't understand why like Imo Aura isn't just like way better. Which already exists for 2 mana. So I just think Sigil of Cinder like probably goes into aggro DH. Like there already like is like an aggro DH list that people are playing. Like it's not amazing, but it also isn't bad. And this is like more ammunition for it. It also I think is like a comeback mechanic a little bit, because like you can prep it to go off of the next turn. You can sort of like just clear whatever board they create and then be able to rebuild your own board, which I haven't played aggro DH, but I don't believe it has a good comeback mechanic other than maybe like the 3 mana clear like 2 damage and then 1 damage. I don't know what it's called. It's like this pre-spell, right?
Hot Coals,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, Hot Coals. Yeah, other than Hot Coals, it seems like another way for it to be able to come back on board. So it's probably really good in there. So I do like that card.
I don't get that. Like, so Fellfire Blaze, I don't get it because you have to also sack the card. It just doesn't feel good. Like, I don't know. I guess we'll see, but like, unless there's a reason to be sacrificing cards as a demon hunter, maybe in a future set, I don't see this being a card. The one thing I'm disappointed in is we didn't get any support in the mini set here for the demon seeds. I really wanted to. The demon seeds have been okay ish. I mean, I'm playing them in a couple of the decks, but I'm never really excited about when I'm playing them. I never really feel like they're getting me ahead or whatever. And I was kind of hoping we get some kind of, I don't know, payoff or maybe some kind of accelerant, because that's where the hunter cards were really good, because you could accelerate their growth, right? You could get through the dormancy faster and all that. How many times did those cards get nerfed or the cards around them get nerfed? So they kind of were probably a little scaled back because of that in the past, but I was really hoping for that here. But Pilot, how's the Druid looking?
Are we going to rate Demon Hunter?
Oh, yes, we are. I'm saying that I'm the one who wanted to do this too. I'm saying that I'm confused. This is a confusing set, even though they have one good card.
Yeah, I'm 2 parts confused, 1 part excited. Confused by the 2 fell spell, excited about Cinder.
Yeah, I guess I'd just say improved, because I feel like it is like definitely improved. I'm a little confused too. Like maybe some new fell spells are gonna come like in later expansions, and it's gonna make sense then.
All right, now can we go on the Druid Pilot?
Yes. So Druid, here are 3 cards that are definitely more all over the place. We have a 1 mana minion, Charred Chameleon, a 1/2 beast with Battlecry. If you use your hero power this turn, give a friendly minion +1/+2 and rush. So solid if you are some sort of deck that's getting on the board and using your hero power, probably right now Imbue Druid. But enough space to kind of go into other stuff later. We have Overheat, a 3 mana fire spell. Give your minions +1/+1. Discard a random nature spell to give them +1/+1 more. So a okay board buff card, but at a price. And then we have another legendary, this time a 4 mana location, Amir Drasil. Summon a 1-cost minion, gain 1 armor, draw 1 card, refresh 1 mana crystal, improves each use. As 3 durability, so the second time you use it, all those numbers will be 2. The last time, all of them will be 3. So thoughts on these cards?
I think the location is really good. I think it's going to be one of it's what was that card? 10 mana, get a 5/5, do 5 damage, get 5 armor, draw 5 cards,
Ultimate
whatever it was.
Infestation.
Ultimate Infestation. This is like Ultimate Infestation in a location. So I'm here for it. Especially, I like it because it's smaller, lower to the ground, so it's not something that they have to ramp up to get. So I think it'll hopefully be some kind of different archetype than just hey, let's get down to, you know, whatever the guy, what the heck's the guy's name, 9 mana. I can't, you know what I mean. The guy that draws 3 different minions from 3 different sets, Dungar.
Oh, Dungar.
Yeah,
That's now 10 mana.
yeah. I think Overheat will be fine. I think it's actually probably pretty solid. I feel like Overheat is probably a card that World 8 is gonna like because you probably if you're playing a deck that you're trying to, just swarm the board, +1/+1 is going to be fine. And if you discard a nature spell for that +1/+1, you're probably pretty happy and you probably really don't care that much anyway. And Chameleon seems fine. So I think Druid got a pretty decent set here. I'm rank it before I pass it over. I'm gonna say that they're definitely improved. How about yourself, Bamity?
Yeah, so I think I'm not like my issue with Overheat is like I want to put this in like Imbue Druid, but I can't because it's not nature. So I'm like really confused what Druid deck is using this. I think Amudrasil and the Charred Chameleon are both really good. Charred Chameleon just like fits right in the Imbue Druid really cleanly. I've also seen like I don't know if y'all have seen this, but I've seen some like spell damage druids like around High Legend Ladder. I don't know why, but I have also lost some of them. So like there's something there. And I think Amudrasil, like probably whatever list they're running, it feels like Amudrasil would like fit right into that. I also think it could go in Imbue Druid as like a refill card, just some value to sustain it through some of the middle turns. I don't know if it does, but like I could definitely see it going in there. So like I'm like actually a little bit excited, maybe just for like if spell damage druid like becomes a thing or like becomes more viable. I don't know if it's actually good. I don't know the stats on it, but I have played against it, so clearly somebody thinks it's good.
Pilot?
Yeah, I Overheat. I think if we get the token druid stuff again, it's definitely a really solid card. So 3 mana +1/+1 across the board is kind of standard, and having the potential upside if you don't care about the nature spell that you're getting rid of to get the extra stats is good. We just don't have enough cards to go quite with that yet, or not enough that it's pieced together to be good enough into the other already aggressive decks. The location is just insane, especially if you get it on curve, or for Druid turn 3. So it's definitely stronger earlier than later, but if they're getting that going, then that's a lot of stuff happening very, very early on to kind of blow out. So yeah, I think improved is where I'm going to go. I don't think any of them overly directly support and boost a current deck, but that's okay. I think they can be slotted in, but they're not going to be game breaking right now.
And I think you might have said this, but just to reiterate, the location is a legendary, so you will only have one in your deck,
Yes.
which is probably for the best. So, Bamity, do you want to take us through Hunter, which is probably the first set that's going to get nerfed in this next expansion?
Yeah, I can. I guess I can read through the Hunter cards. So we have Magma Hound. We have it's 8 mana 5/8 rush. As effect, after it attacks and survives, deal its attack split among all enemies. We have Bursting Shot, 2 mana, deal 2 damage to 3 random enemies. That sounds pretty good just off the bat. And then we have Tending Dragonkin, which I guess 3 mana 3/2, Battle Cry, and it copies the lowest cost beast in your hand. It's just some initial takes. The spell seems really good. Like it seems like a really clean clear for maybe even Hand Buff Hunter runs this to just be able to beat aggro a little bit better. It probably helps them with some easy removal. I wonder if the dragon can be fit into Hand Buff Hunter somehow. Maybe not, but it might. This might be a way for it to copy the buffed minions. If you're only running 3 minions and one of them is a dragon, you buff a big minion and you draw the dragon and you have 2 of them. Or even if Magma Hound can be slotted into Hand Buff Hunter and you have this 15. 16 or something, some big attacks at a minion just clears your opponent's entire board. I don't know. Seems pretty good.
I mean, this feels like Magma Hound seems insane to me, especially if you're playing imbued. Feels like the first set that is actively improving an imbued class so far. It's gross. It's five. It's not gonna. It's almost never gonna be a 5'8". It's always gonna be much bigger. It's got a big butt that you can't. You're gonna have to find a way to deal with. And every time it attacks, it just deals more damage. It's gonna clear boards. It's gonna be a game closing card. This card comes down, especially if you get two of them that cost 0 mana because of the Dragonkin. It's just game over. This is going to be one of those things. I think they talked about this on the VS report a little bit, but it's going to be one of those cards that makes it so you don't want to play minions at certain points of the game, and that's something that they don't like typically, or people aren't happy with when like your strategy is, well, I'm not going to play something because then it's just going to kill me. And that's a tough place to be. We're kind of back into the old um, Runter Hunter type thing, which you want to not play that. So I think this is going to be a problem. I think they're going to have to make some adjustments here, but it's a fun looking card. I think it's Hunter's going to be really good. I think coming out the block. Tyler, what are your thoughts? Oh, I'm going to say that I think that this is very, very good. I'm going to call this one. What did I say the rank was? Exciting. This is exciting for hunters anyway. But Pilot, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with exciting. I mean, Magma Hound finally gives us a reason to not just go all in on King Plush for Imbue Hunter, because that was kind of the better Imbue Hunter, just go all in there, and now we have a second one that is definitely worthwhile, and we can, maybe that switches it to more of a big beast, and you're just discounting, you run Plush, this, and then, probably Malorn, and maybe the T-Rex from Whizbang, and that's a pretty solid group of cards that does a lot of damage. Dragonkin is nuts, especially since it is a dragon and it doesn't get in the way of your imbues. And then Bursting Shot's just a really good card. Ricochet Shot was the one I was trying to think of from Lich King, to where it's 1 mana, deal 1 damage to 3 random enemies, and that was in 90% of Hunter decks the entire time it was in Standard because it was just really good. This is in the exact same spot. I think it is 2 mana, and that slot for Hunter is a little bit more contested, I feel like, normally, but it's still, I think, way too good for most decks to ignore.
What do you think of Mage, Pilot? What do we got going on here?
So, Mage brings us, I think, for the first time since we've been talking about the cards, to one of the cycles that they have for this. Normally, mini sets, we don't get a new keyword, but we do normally get some sort of cycle of cards. In this case, we got Smoldering cards, where it's something where each of those cards, they upgrade each turn, but after 3 turns, they are discarded. And it uses the same burning effect like Immolate did and some of the other cards with that effect we've had. So Mage got Smoldering Grove, which is 2 mana spell, draw 1 card, and it upgrades each turn. So it's potentially a 2 mana, draw 3, which is solid. We have Scorching Winds, a 3 mana fire spell, deal 3 damage, discard a random fire spell to deal 3 more damage. And then we also got a 4 mana 3/6 elemental, Inferno Herald. After you cast a fire spell, gets a random elemental and reduce its cost by 3. I find it very interesting that they decided this set to go back to elementals and fire spells after we had nothing of that sort for the main set, and it's kind of like feels like this mini set belongs with last year's, between the one that we got Saroon and all the elementals and fire spell support. So definitely kind of calling back to that, but I think these cards are pretty solid to go into that, especially since we lost so many cards with rotation from Badlands. We had a lot of elementals. So something that gives elemental fire spell Mage something to look at and maybe be a deck again. It wasn't very popular at higher ranks, so I don't know if it's going to catch on, but enough support to at least make that deck functional again, maybe.
I think we're actually looking forward because we're going into Ungoro, because we already know the sets.
That too.
And Ungoro has elementals and fire and whatnot. So I think that's where Mage is going. Where we get Mage, we're getting support forward for the next one. But yeah, Smoldering Grove seems good. The discard, so it's kind of nice. Like if you're discarding it, you probably didn't need the draw anyway, so who cares, right? So it's probably a good spell there. Scorching Winds, I mean, we've had mechanics like this before that 3 mana deal 6. If you're gonna discard a fire spell, it's probably okay anyway because you're trying to either finish them off or maybe get that extra burst to clear some minion that's going to kill you. So overall, this seems fine. I'm not excited about it, but I think this improves Mage at least in some level. How about yourself, Bamity?
Yeah, I definitely agree that like it does improve mage somewhat. I think like one of the cards looking at is like Inferno Herald. I can't tell like intuitively like, is this too slow? Like my gut check is that like 4 mana feels a little too slow. I think if it is good, it's gonna be super obnoxious. It's like either gonna be a super obnoxious card, like whether now or like they buff it if this is not good enough, or it's gonna be really bad. So I don't know how I feel about that card design on Inferno Herald, to be honest. But yeah, I think the other two spells seem pretty good, and then if like what he says about like Ungor being next expansion, like if that works out, I think like definitely like also looking forward to what this could mean for Mage like in the future. Yeah, definitely improved. A little bit excited maybe.
All right, well, we're gonna move on to Paladin. So we have a 2 mana 3/2 Ashleaf Pixie Battlecry. If you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, gain Divine Shield and Lifesteal. You have a 1 mana spell, Smoldering Strength. Give a friendly minion +1/+1. Upgrades each turn, but discards after 3. So there that is again. And Searing Reflection is a 7 mana. Draw a minion, summon an 8/8 copy of it with Divine Shield. So I think this improves Paladin. There's obviously a little anti-synergy with Ashleaf and the Pirate card, kind of, because if you're playing it on turn 2, it's probably still costing more than 5, so I think maybe it'll be just fine. It's kind of a nice little temple thing if you're playing in a deck like that. Searing Reflection is interesting. I think that's going to be really nice off of the minion that the Urzul, what is that his name? Urzul, the one that makes it cast it as an aura. But is it as good? It's not as good as playing the the tree card. So I think while this is something that's going to be pretty good, like, is it going to be enough to make you want to put this in the deck with the tree card and that, or? But I mean, I really like this card. I really like Searing Reflection. It has that kind of potential of being fun. You draw a card, you get an extra copy of it. I don't know. I like it. But again, I don't know if it's going to be enough to do more than. Is it going to be enough to make us want to do not tree? But maybe when tree gets nerfed, maybe then this gets fine. So I think this is improved. Paladin. I don't think it changes all that much, but I think the cards are good and fun, and it'll be fine. How about yourself, Bemity?
Yes, I guess I've been playing a lot of Paladin, so I'm like a little bit mad on this only because like even in, it's like at least first of all like 7-drop spell, like I think even if tree gets nerfed, like I feel like I still like would rather like honestly like Shanty get triggered just because it's wider, or maybe even it's like the 7 mana 10 damage spell like it is like 5 twice lifesteal.
Yeah, the one that everyone forgot about as soon as the set came out.
yeah. Like I feel like either of those, like, they still feel like better, unless like if there's like a lot of these like minions you want to play, like a lot of like Paladin like big or like medium sized minions, or like small minions with like really good effects. Which I don't recall if there are that many, but I don't feel like there are given the direction Paladin is in right now. Like given that we're just playing lots of spells, like I don't think there are that many good Paladin minions. And then also like I don't know if I like Smoldering Strength, at least in Paladin right now, because it's not holy, and it doesn't really represent, like, repeated targets either. And I guess I don't really feel into Shanty Paladin. Maybe, like, Menagerie Paladin, I know, like, sort of exists. Maybe it fits into that, but I'm not sure. And then with the Pixie, like, again, like, it doesn't really fit into Shanty Paladin, because I don't think there are enough big spells that it's consistent. I don't think Menagerie Paladin wants to run big spells like all that much, and if it does, it's only like maybe Ursul, Shaladrasil, or something like that. It's like a top end. It's like I don't really see where that goes either. So like I'm like pretty mad on this. Like maybe like future minions get released, which makes Searing Reflection super good. I personally don't see where it's gonna be put into right now.
Pilot?
Yeah, it's very meh right now. The Smoldering Strength is probably the Smoldering card that has the best chance to find consistent use out of all of them, because no matter what, you're fine with just paying 1 mana for this before it discards, compared to some of the others. You might overdraw, or for the Priest one, they might not have a board for you to clear, things like that. It's very easy to weave this card in if it fits in a deck. The Pixie and Searing Reflection are definitely like deck builder cards. So that's something to where I think as we get more, cards to play with and things that you can look at, you could find an interesting use for it in Searing Reflection. A deck that supports some bigger spells with some cheap to medium cost minions that have good effects, like you said, something that's not a battle cry focused deck. But it's definitely something to where you have to really build the entire deck around it, I feel. And I just don't think that we have enough stuff right now. Not that comes to the top of my head, at least. But it does seem like they're kind of pushing that way, which I'm okay with, because that definitely feels like it'd be something very different from the current Paladins we have and give us another archetype.
Fair enough. I'll do Priest so that way you do Rogue Pilot, because I'm sure you're excited about Rogue looking at it. So Priest got a 3-mana spell, Arcane, Light of the New Moon, which is give a minion +3/+3. Cast 3 spells to return this to your hand when played. Smoldering Ascent, which is a 2-mana spell, fire. Deal 1 damage to all enemies, upgrades each turn but discards after 3. And the Spirit of the Calidore, which is a 2-mana 1/3 taunt lifesteal battle cry. If you've used your hero power this turn, gain +2/+2. I don't know what to think of the set. I'm going to put this one under confused. I know there's been a lot of discourse online about why are we giving a upgrade card to a class that they want to push imbue, which discards cards after the turn. They're temporary for the turn. The same thing kind of like with the Light of the New Moon. Kind of doesn't really fit that archetype. Spirit of Calidari seems like it's a very solid card if you're using hero power at all. But yeah, the set confuses me. I'm not sure what's going on here. What do you think, Bamity?
Yeah, I would say in your boat as well, like the top 2 spells, like especially the one that like buffs a minion, like I don't really know like what priestess deck this would ever go in. That's like playing enough spells and then also at the same time has minions to buff. If you're playing a lot of spells, like my intuition is that like you're probably not like trying to buff minions and all that stuff. Other than like you had like Naga Priest once. But even then, playing 3 spells is a lot more than playing the minion to get the refreshes. It doesn't synergize as well. I think like the Caldori definitely like improves Imbue Priest. Like it gives it some more sustain and being able to like heal and stop aggro. So like maybe there's like slight improvement on Imbue Priest, but like I don't think it's enough. Like I think the deck's like so bad. I don't think like a taunt that comes out on like turn 4 is going to be good enough to make that deck like legit still. So yeah, I was pretty confused on like what their angle is here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've played with I think all 3 of these cards in Arena, because if you have not heard, Imbue Priest in Arena is really, really good right now. It's very good for Arena, which makes sense with something that you're generating discounted cards every turn. So I know that I drafted the 2-drop, and that's still a decent amount of stats for 2. If you're playing that on turn 4, at least turn 4 or turn 5 as a 2-mana, 3/5 taunt lifesteal, that's still decent if you're doing something else okay with it. I don't know if it's good enough for standard, though. If it's good enough for standard, then things have really slowed down or weakened, or you're in a very slow matchup. Light of the Moon Tree needs something else right now. Like you said, I don't know what spells we're playing cheap enough and repeated enough to be able to make that work other than the drink, since we get 3 uses out of 1 card in the deck. The only other kind of repeatable card that we have is Lightspeed from the last set. Give a minion +1/+2 in rush, repeatable this turn as kind of an echo effect. But it costs 2 mana, and it's really hard to kind of fit all that into a turn where you're not already way behind or dead. So going to put this under confused, but I could see potential in later.
I mean, if you're running some kind of an aggro deck, I mean, Light of the New Moon is a 3-mana 3/3. If you have something that sticks, it's 3 damage, right? It's like a 3/3 charge or something. So maybe like in a shadow type deck or something like that. But
Maybe.
Yeah, but there's not a whole lot of support for it. So again, maybe that's a forward thinking card. But Pilot, How's Rogue looking?
Rogue is very interesting. So Rogue got some very rogue cards. We have Smoke Bomb, which is a 2-mana fire spell. Discover a combo, Battlecry, or stealth minion with Dark Gift. So a little bit of Dark Gift support for that. Along with a weapon to support that, a 1-mana 1/2 weapon, Cinder Sword. Battlecry, if you're holding a minion with a Dark Gift, gain +3 attack. So that is, if you have a Dark Gift minion, that is a 4/2 1-mana weapon, which is a lot of damage. And then we also got a 4-mana 2/2 elemental, Everburning Phoenix. Costs 1 less for each card you've played this turn. Death Rattle, return this to your hand. So I don't know what's going to break Phoenix, but whenever you have something like this that you can play for 0 and get it back every time it dies, something will break it, and I don't know what it is yet, but there's something there. And then the Dark Gift cards are just very solid additions to that, especially, most of Rogue's other Dark Gift stuff is cheaper, to where you could very easily go coin Nightmare Fuel on turn 1 to get the Dark Gift from your opponent's deck and have a 4/2 weapon on turn 1. That's a very easy foreseeable play to do that just puts a lot of pressure on right away. So Rogue is maybe setting up most, other than Warlock being the obvious one, to kind of really focus and go all in on Dark Gifts. But yeah, Phoenix, I'm not smart enough to break yet, but I'm sure that something will.
In Smoke Bomb, one thing to remember is you're going to see one of each. So you will see a combo, a battle cry, and a stealth minion, one of each. And maybe there's something that has multiple keywords that you'll see in either category. But so you'll always have an opportunity to get a stealth minion if that's what you're looking for or whatnot. So that's kind of important.
The stealth pool is very small, also.
Yes, and that's one of one of those cards that'll probably be better now than it would be in like a 6-set meta. But it's a solid card. I think Rogue is improved. Cinder Sword is just scary, I think. Especially if you're running maybe like a weapon rogue type package or with some dark gifts, you could probably get something pretty gross pretty fast. But overall the cards seem good. Bamity, you like Rogue? What's this looking like?
Yeah, so I feel like Cinder Sword and maybe even Smoke Bomb, they're gonna go in a list that like sort of there have been already like the Ashimane combo rogue like mixed list that exists right now that put like a lot of pressure really quick anyways, with like 3/5/5s on like turn 3 or 4. I think that fits into that like really cleanly as like another just over the top burn. So I think that's like improving that deck like by a lot. With the Phoenix, I'm not trying to break it in standard. I've seen people talk about Wild where you have Spirit Singer Umbra, which just triggers a Death Rattle immediately when the minion is played. So once you get Phoenix to 0, you can just sort of play it infinite times, and you can do like any of the cards that trigger like Knife Juggler, right? You just have infinite damage if you have enough APM, or like if you play it's like Draka that makes like the weapon based on how many cards you played.
Yep.
I forgot. So I've seen people talk about how in Wild like this is just like you can like free basically OTK once you get to 0. So I'm sure something like that might pop up, or even just like filling up curves for like more like draw heavy rogue decks feels pretty good. So yeah, definitely exciting, at least for me.
Nice. All right, so moving on to Shaman, we have a 2-mana Flames of the Fire Lord, which is a fire spell. I would hope so, given it's Flames of the Fire Lord. Deal 4 damage to a random enemy minion. If you're holding a card that costs 8 or more, deal 8 instead. You have a Embers Scarred Whelp, which is a dragon of 3-mana 3/2. Battlecry, discover a 5-cost card, gain 1 mana crystal next turn only. And then you have a 9-mana 9/9 Avatar of Destruction. Taunt, Death Rattle, deal 9 damage to all enemy minions. I don't know what's going on here either. Flames of the Fire Lord seems okay if you're playing, say, like a what's the deck, like cliff diving, or even the it would have to be like a cliff dive type deck or something like that, where you're getting
Nebula.
some big minions in there. Well, you're not going to hold. Oh, you're holding a card, not a minion. Okay, yeah. So it would work
You have
with
to
Nebula.
hold a card that costs 8 or more.
Yeah, Nebula would work too. That's what I was thinking of, but I'm like, wait, no, minions. Yeah, Nebula works. Or you have an Avatar of Destruction, perhaps. Ember Scar Whelp seems very solid. Just kind of a little trail mix kind of thing there. I don't know Avatar Destruction is going to be played. Like a lot of times when you see cards like this, they're good to generate, but they're not necessarily good to run in your decks. But they're a happy thing when you generate one on turn 9 for 1 mana, and then you can just play it. It's got taunt, so it's not something that can be ignored. So it has potential. I think this improves Shaman, but then again, I think any cards would have improved Shaman because Shaman's not very good right now. So I'm just going with improved. Bamity, what do you think?
I'd say I don't know. I don't know what decks right now these fit into, other than maybe like Nebula Shaman and the Flames of the Fire Lord. Yeah, I think the Whelp would fit into like really great into like some sort of mid range Shaman that doesn't really exist right now. Like unless like you count Terran Shaman, but I don't think Terran Shaman would play that. So I'm pretty confused. I think like the thing you're gonna be most annoyed by probably is like when Starship DK has like a 9 attack ship and it summons Avatar of Destruction. I think like that's that's gonna be really annoying. But like I don't know how much plays you're gonna get in Shaman. Like maybe you cliff dive and you summon the destruction and you trade it or something. But like I don't think cliff dive Shaman exists right now. So yeah, I don't really see it. I'm pretty confused, and they all seem disconnected, like really disconnected from each other.
Pilot, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm met on this. The Whelp is the only one that I could see being played for this a decent amount if we have some sort of mid range to slower Shaman deck that's just looking for a curve filler early on, or if it's something to where the 4-drop spot for Shaman just isn't very good, so you play this on 3 and play a better 5-drop on turn 4. So it's a 3-mana 3/3, discover a card and get a coin next turn, basically. So Avatar of Destruction, the best argument I can make for that is we have another card for it, the Wild God, the Onahara, and that's a pretty bad argument to make for playing a card. As someone who tried to play that early on because I got a golden version of it, that deck was awful. It was not good at all. So yeah, don't know where the other two go. Flames of the Fire Lord seems like too much of a deck building requirement for a 2-mana card to do some extra damage. As just a 2-mana deal 4 clear, that's fine. Maybe we need to focus more on that. That's probably just fine in a control shaman to clear up an early minion. But if you're trying to get the requirement, I don't know what it is. So very meh.
And it doesn't go face. So like it's not even like worth it to kind of run the bigger minions to run this card. Because if you had that kind of thing, then yeah, maybe, right? Maybe there's a reason to run it for like, a little a very almost pyroblast, but I don't see it. Bemini, why don't you take us through Warlock, since I know you said that was one of your favorite classes?
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, so we have a 1-mana spell, Conflagrate. Fire spell. It deals 5 damage to a minion, and its owner draws a card. You have Amber Destroyer, 3-mana 3/3. Whenever your hero takes damage on your turn, you deal 3 damage to a random enemy minion. And then we have Shadow Flame Stalker, 4-mana 4/3. It discovers a demon with a dark gift and gets a copy of it. Just like off the bat, like with the Shadow Flame Stalker, I think the one that gathers all the dark gifts, that's a demon, right? It's like a 9-drop. It seems like it's meant for that. I forgot what it's called, actually.
Wallow?
Yeah. Well, is Wallow a demon?
It is not a demon.
Okay.
Probably this exact reason.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say like this maybe works well with Wallow. I mean, if not with Wallow, then like I don't really know like if there are any great demons that Warlock is trying to play and like copy and stuff, other than maybe it's another way to give more dark gifts to Wallow. Ember Destroyer like feels pretty good actually. I don't know what deck it would go into, but like I mean, if there's like a zoo warlock that deals damage to itself, which maybe we don't have right now, it seems really, really good in something like that, like an aggro warlock. And Conflagrate seems pretty mid, so I don't know. Like maybe improved a little bit, but like yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like Ember Destroyer has a place, just not in a deck right now. Like that's the only one I'm like, okay, this like could be a really good card.
I have a feeling that Ember Root Destroyer is going to be very gross in like a Demon Seed deck over there in Wild. People are probably not going to be happy about that one. But if there's even room for it in there, Shadow Flame Stalker seems good. I mean, obviously, it's just more of fuel for Willow. Discover not only are you getting a dark gift, the demon pool is probably pretty small, so I'm sure there's probably some chaining you can do there. So I think overall it's an interesting set. Conflagrate, I think it's fine. Deal 5 damage to a minion. You may its owner draws a card. This feels like something where you want to destroy your own minion if in certain situations, if there's a reason to do it. Plus, you also get early removal if needed, just so that way their Slither Spear can't run away with things. You can just kind of take care of it right away. So I think it's a multi-use card. I think it's actually probably better than it looks at first glance. So I'll say this is interesting. I don't think we've improved all that much, but I don't think we've gotten worse either. No location support, thankfully. Overall, yeah, I think it's fine. Pilot?
Yeah, I'm pretty friendly on improve for Warlock. Think the type of deck that wants to run Dark Gifts, that's a very good card for it because unlike Rogue where you can do the Dark Gifts and still do a lot of tempo stuff, Warlock definitely wants to go a little bit slower or just build up Wallow to be an OTK. So if we get a little bit more pain support, then Ember Root's really strong. Really, really strong if we get some stuff with that. And then Conflagrate is just a really strong card, I think. Yes, you have to decide if you're going to get rid of something big, you're giving your opponent a card, but the flexibility of it being able to be something on either side, and Warlock definitely has some minions that, they want to kill off or stuff that, has bonuses if that dies on your turn, opens up some possibilities there as well. So I think that that's going to be a very playable card in the right deck, and definitely has enough flexibility that it's something that you can always look at.
All right, let's move on to Warrior. This is our last
Wait,
class.
I had one more thing.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, I just realized something. I guess in like the Mill Warlock deck, some people are playing at really high legend. I guess Conflagrate would be like really, really good in that, right?
Yes.
Like I just thought about that. Yeah, like because a lot of times they get like in these situations where they can't kill the minion that they want to, and this sort of saves them from that, and also draws them a card, which they always want to do. So maybe it's really good there.
The prize vendor, right? Is that the card?
Yeah, it was prize vendor, and then there's like the demon that like gets all the death rattles. It's like a 2-mana 3/2. Sometimes they want to play that early and just kill it to get it in their deck. But if they don't have enough cards to kill their own minions, they can't do that. But this gives them another way to do it and draw a card.
Fair. So probably going to be pretty good. So Warrior has a 4-mana 3/6 Beast Dragon Turtle. So it's in the name and the title, and basically 2 places. Battle Cry: if you're holding a minion with a dark gift, gives your hero +3 attack this turn and 6 armor. We have a 5-mana 5/5 Keeper of the Flame. Battle Cry: give all minions in your hand +3/+3. They are discarded in 3 turns. Which, okay. And then they have a 3-mana Shadow Flame Suffusion, which is deal 3 damage. Discover a warrior minion with a dark gift. That's a fire spell. Keeper of the Flame is interesting. Probably really good if you're probably good top end on some kind of low to the ground menagerie deck. Dragon Turtle is confusing because it's a good card, but where's the taunt? It's a turtle. And Shadow Flame Suffusion seems fine. Like it seems like I think Warrior got better. Anything that gets them away from playing Mech Warrior, I'm happy with. So let's see if this does it. Bamity, what do you think about Warrior here?
Yeah, I think the card's definitely good. Again, I don't play that much Warrior, and because Warrior's not really been in the meta, I'm not really sure like what the decks look like. But I don't like know what Warrior's playing enough dark gift cards for Dragon Turtle to be active enough. I think the Shadow Flame Suffusion is a really good dark gift card. It's like pretty proactive, like dealing 3 damage is like pretty good. I just maybe the trick is like you just play that and then you play the 2-mana 1/2 and it's like good enough in like a slower warrior deck. Like it seems like Dragon Turtle like is not like a super aggressive card, but I guess like you said, like it'd be nice if it had taunt. That'd be really clean card then. And then yeah, I guess like I'm like a little confused. Like it's definitely they're good cards. They're gonna improve warrior, especially once warrior gets like maybe other cards in like the next expansion. Just don't know how they fit into any current decks or even any potential current decks that exist right now?
Pilot?
I'm actually excited for these. I think Keeper of the Flame is probably the weakest one right now. I do think that it could definitely fit as a top end of some sort of aggressive warrior deck, which is something that I am a sucker for trying to build and lose with a lot. But if you make that your top end and you have a bunch of 1, 2, 3 cost cards, you're going to play them all before they're discarded, and that's just waves of stats that the opponent has to deal with or just lose. So some sort of menagerie warrior with that as top end. And Dragon Turtle and Shadow Flame, I think, give that Dragon Dark Gift Warrior the reason to make that as their direction. I had played around with that a little bit at the beginning. It was missing just a handful of cards to be just a straight up kind of tempo get through and then really start making, some powerful plays later or start, repeating the Ysandra's and stuff like that. I think that these fill out that curve to make that deck possibly legitimate now, and let you focus in on that rather than being like, well, I want to do this, but I only have a 20 card deck, so let's just try to find 10 good cards to fill it out. Now you're just filling in 5 or 6 cards at the end of it. And Dragon Turtle's a lot of stuff, especially with it being a dragon itself. It activates the 1-drop, and you're going to have a Dark Gift Dragon in your hand for turn 4 when you play this. And it solidifies and makes that so much more consistent. I think that those two make that a deck, personally.
And one other thing about Keepers of the Flame, a lot of times when you're playing those low to the ground menagerie type decks, then those like 1-2 mana, 3 mana minions aren't great as you kind of move to the mid game, because unless you have something that boosts them, if you've lost like wave 1, wave 2, and you haven't won by turn 6, maybe the game's over. This might give a little bit prolonged ability because you'll enhance those minions before you play them. So I think it's a very interesting card. I don't know if it'll be good, but it'll be interesting. So Pilot, why don't you take us through the neutrals real quick? There's 5 of them.
So our neutral is going to kind of go, they're not really grouped in any way. There's nothing that really goes together here. So a little all over the place with our neutrals. Starting with common, 2 mana, 2/2, Living Flame, Death Rattle, draw a fire spell. We had a lot of fire spells in the mini set, so that makes sense. We have an Imbue payoff card, a 3 mana, 2/3, Petal Picker, Battle Cry. If you've imbued your hero power twice, you'll draw 2 cards. That seems really good for Imbue Druid, which is looking for anything that says draw, since you're limited to the nature spells. So very, very strong there. And that's a Drain Eye if that is important to whatever deck you're playing. And then we have the signature weird epic of the set, Zakalai Flamemancer, a 6 mana 4/4 Battle Cry. If every card in your hand is of a different cost, reduce their cost by 2. Tito and I were talking about this. Somebody is going to find some weird combo to do with this. I saw someone in Coin Concede edit it to put the type as Jombre on the bottom, and that sounds pretty accurate. But yeah, I saw this. I'm like, okay, there's our weird epic, because there's always one epic that's really weird and out there. So interesting card. Don't know what's going to take advantage of it, but we'll see. And then we have 2 legendaries. Sidral Sage Swift, I think. 4 mana, 4/3, Death Rattle, deal 1 damage to all enemies. If it's your opponent's turn, deal 4 damage instead. And then we also have Fyrakk the Blazing, a 9 mana, 7/7 dragon, immune to fire spells. Battle Cry, cast 20 mana worth of fire spells at random enemies. So very similar to Rune of the Archmage or whatever the 9 mana mage spell was before, but it's specifically fire spells at enemies, and nice it has the immune to fire spells in case you get any AoE spells. It will not damage itself.
So what do you think, Pilot?
I think Petal Picker goes in any imbued deck. Living Flame is a really solid neutral, targeted draw for fire spells. The legendaries, I don't know what they go in quite yet. I mean, the dragon might be the top end to some sort of slower deck, but it's still something that you're not guaranteed to end the game with. So it's something to where you just drop this as a here's a big minion and spin the wheel and see what happens and go from there. But you're not winning the game with it. So they're okay. I don't know. I don't know if I'd say I'm confused, but definitely kind of in the middle overall for them. But thankful we're not seeing a neutral legendary in a mini set that's going to break standard like we did for quite a while. So that's probably the best thing.
I think Tindril is really solid. Tindril feels like Pozic or something, right? It's like it's going to be one of those ones where it's really going to make your opponent think about how they're going to get rid of it or how they're going to take their turn or what they're going to play until that is resolved. So I think this is a card we're going to see a lot as kind of like a 29th or 30th card in a deck where hey, what can we play? I'll just throw Tindril in there. Frack, the Blazing seems fun. Like it just is one of those cards that it's going to be chaotic. And if you like chaos, I feel like that's going to be a fun card that might be a card that finds its way into the 29th, 30th slot as well in a lot of just random decks because it doesn't need any synergies. It just kind of like, hey, here's a bunch of damage, have fun. So, or a bunch of fire spells. It may not all be damage. So maybe that's kind of like just like a deck filler in like a 4-set meta that might get you over the top. Who knows? But I think it's solid. Zaquil Flame Answers. I'm thinking that there's probably what's going to happen is we're going to have a particular hand that you want to set up. So you'll play your deck where like you want once you get all those cards in your hand, you clear them out, and then you want to play this card so that way you can do your next turn have some weird combo. Again, don't know what it is, but I think it's a fun card, and I think John Bray is right. That is perfect. Bamity, what do you think here?
Yeah, I think I agree like with y'all assessments on most of the cards. I also like the Living Flame. I think like any of the Dark Gift like classes, like all their Dark Gift spells are the 3-mana fire spells, so that just like gives them a really clean curve if they end up being good. Yep. I think Fyrak like actually might be pretty good. So like what I'm thinking is like in like the rogue, like the combo rogue decks, like sometimes they'll run Ashmane on the top end. I think this is like way better than Ashmane in those decks. Like because it either will just clear the board or it'll kill the opponent. Because usually they're pressuring the opponent at that point when they're dropping their 9-drop. And then I think you can just bounce it. Like I think it might actually be like pretty obnoxious in Rogue. Because like it's immune, so it never kills itself. Like unlike Yogg or something like that. And you can play it once. And I think you're probably either doing a bunch of damage to your opponent or clearing their board. Usually probably not. Most of the time doing neither. And then if you just clear their board, just do it again. You can do it again. You have 4 bounces, right? Like... And it can come out pretty early. It can come out on turn 7 if you have like the discount pirate. And I don't know. I think it could be pretty good.
And there's a lot of damage there too, potentially, right? So it's kind of like almost like a Sire Denathrius there. Kind of not like quite on the same level as that, but
Yeah,
those fire spells are really all over.
But they go to random enemies at least. So it's not like you're going to clear your own board. I mean, potentially. Hellfire,
I'm less talking about that. I'm more talking about what they do. Like I have the card library up right now. There are 29 fire spells in standard, ranging from damage to a lot of the cards that we just talked about, to where the Death Knight, discover a minion with Dark Gift. It costs 2 less. That's a fire spell. A bunch of draw cards are fire spells, like in Mage, the Smoldering Grove, Burn Down. Those are all fire spells. So Supernova is an 8-mana fire spell. So that's 8 mana of your 20 that is just generating a full hand and not doing anything. So I think with what the fire spell pool is right now, it's a little bit riskier if you're throwing it down hoping that it's going to clear the board. It's probably still worth it because you still have okay odds, but there's a lot of other stuff that can happen. Smoke Bomb, Blazing Invocation is a fire spell. Eat the Imp is a fire spell. Char, there's a lot of other ones that you can get.
Oh yeah, I've also heard Eat the Imp can kill it because it's immune to the damage.
Yeah,
but the Eat the Imp targeting does kill it, which I think is pretty bad for it.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a game you're going to win, and there's going to be a game that you're going to lose because you play this card, and because you could have won without it, but you wanted to play it anyway, and it ends up finding a way to kill you. And the same thing, your opponent's going to play it, and
Yep.
they're going to overdraw or something like that because of all the card draw, and it'll win. So that'll be fun. One final note: there's 3 signatures. There's Valcross, there's Tindral, and the Black Knight, which isn't even part of this, but I think these signatures are straight fire. They're really good looking. They're like
Really
really
good.
black and stylized, and with a little bit of red. Tindral looks a lot like Illidan, kind of. I think it's really kind of a good set. All right, well, that was a lot, but it's time for some dessert. Speaking of Bamity, what is your favorite dessert?
Oh, I love tiramisu. That's my favorite dessert, like by far. I like brownies too, close second.
I think tiramisu might be the clear winner in bread and butter history. I'm not going to go back and check,
I think so.
but I mean, and for a good reason because it's also my favorite. So I mean, that's just solid. Uh, Listeners, you know the drill. We love to hear from you. Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. Mostly what we're doing right. Just kidding. But if you can tell somebody about the show, it's great. If you can give us a 5-star review, it's great. If you let me know what platform you're listening on, so I can make sure that we're kind of addressing that too, because we're all over the place. We get stats, but the stats are very specific to certain platforms, and it's always nice to know if people are listening on other platforms. But we're planning on doing this for a long time, and thank you for coming along for the ride. Bamity, where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, I go by NotBamity on Twitter or Twitch. It's probably the easiest place to find me. Not super active on either, but maybe I'll be more active on Twitch this summer. So hopefully you can find me there.
Pilot?
You can mainly find me on Discord, Pilot712, that's Pylat. I also have a Twitter, but don't check that nearly as often. So you can mainly reach me on Discord. I'm in a few different Hearthstone Discords, and you can DM me there.
And you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, and wherever else you might be able to find something. I might be there. If I'm not, let me know. I'll try to get there at some point. And that's Tito Santana HS. No Bamity. No Bamity. No Bamity, 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 Bamity. You guys shout outs you like to promote this week or anything you like to, anything.
Yeah, I mean, just shout out to my THL teams, my pro team, Cheesemongers United, my hero team, Defias, Wild9 runs that team, and it's really great. And maybe also, if anyone qualified for the playoffs and wants to prep, I'm looking to form a prep group, so feel free to reach out to me, either on Twitter or Discord. I'm also NotBamity. I'd love to prep with some people.
How about yourself?
Yeah, going to shout out my high school band students. We had our spring concert yesterday where they showed they've grown a lot this year, but also challenged them with, since we had some extra time for our prep cycle with this concert, we ended up doing a 15-minute symphony, which is the amount of music that they normally play on one concert. And it's just one of the 3 pieces that we did. They definitely stepped up to it and was one of the best concerts that I think we've had. One of the most fun concerts that I've put on for sure. So huge shout out to them for stepping up to that.
And I'm going to shout out Dragon Rider this week, who just got herself a new position as a brand manager for, I can't remember the name of the company, but that's exciting news because that's right up her alley. And, she deserves it. But anyway, guys, I think we're toast. We'll see you.
See ya.
Adios.
Slide two brothers meet one another when they slide up to the mic. It's bread and butter with one another. Let's start up that recording light.